Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody has had a great week and is looking forward to a good weekend, staying healthy, staying strong and productive. Welcome Jaineel. Hi Rashika. In this class, everyone, we are looking at IELTS, another Task 1 diagram for the academic version of the test. And we're going to do a step-by-step walkthrough of how to write that Band 9 essay. This is going to be a comparative diagram where we have to compare two maps. Okay, so that's coming up. While we wait for some more members to join up, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Please visit us there. And for the general IELTS, check us out at ieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we have lots and lots of information to help you improve for your next IELTS test. I'll quickly show you those websites. This is the academic version of our website here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join our premium package. There, it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Welcome, June. Hi, Nikhil. Hi, Deepika. Good to have you in the class. Our general IELTS website looks like this with the green background. Again, you can click that big red button to join us there. So definitely worth the small investment to get lots and lots of materials. And again, we are an official British Council IELTS registration center and certified agents, so you're in good hands with us. You can download our apps, Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. You can link the apps to the websites, and you can also follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AHelp and GIELTS Help. So lots and lots of materials for you. If you have any questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will get back to you in short notice. All right. Jaineel, yes, it's a good day to practice Task 1 and Task 2 with the exam coming up tomorrow. Jaineel, I hope your exam goes really well tomorrow. I'll keep my fingers crossed. So that's what we have today is Task 1 right now, and then Task 2 in the all chat class coming up after. Let's take a look at this Task 1 question right now. So here we go. This is the Task 1 question. I think this is a former IELTS question. So here we go. IELTS Task 1 writing. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. So it's 1/3 of your writing section time. It's 1/3 of your mark. The following diagrams show the changes that happened to a shopping center between 2 years. Report the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. So that's minimum 150 words. Spandana, welcome to our group of members. Nice to have you on board. Okay, let's take a look at these two diagrams. So here we go. It is the Happy Valley Shopping Center in 1982. And then here we have a little map of the shopping center. So we have a lake here, we have some trees, and then we have the shopping center itself. We have a coffee shop, a food store, we have an entertainment area in the middle, lobby, toilets, sports store, electronics, furniture store. And then here we have some elevators to the second floor. Okay, great. I'll zoom in later on. But for now, just getting a general idea of these diagrams is a good idea. Okay, so Happy Valley Shopping Center 2012. Immediately, I recognize that between 1982 and 2012. Clearly there are 30 years or 3 decades, so that's how far apart this is. And then here we have the second diagram. We have furniture retail instead of the lake. We have a parking lot down in the bottom left here. And then we have the sports store, electronics store. And then here we have themed restaurants, a food store, entertainment area, entrance, toilets, and then elevators to the second floor. So obviously some things have changed. Some things have stayed the same. What we need to do is we need to explain these changes over the course of these 30 years in a very clear way to the reader. So that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so what's the first step here, members? So first step, we just did that. We read the question carefully. We looked at the diagram. So what should we do next? Okay, so here, let's get into it. So what's our next step? Step 2. What should I do here? Nick Hill says, paraphrase the question, give it details, write the introduction, right? Write the introduction, which means to paraphrase the question and give it more details using the diagram. Okay, sure. So here we have the original, so the following diagrams. Right away you can get into some quantitative language. So do this now, members. Do the paraphrasing, add the details. I'm going to do the same, and then we can get to the next step. So right away I'm going to quantify. So these two diagrams. I don't like to write the given diagrams. I think that's kind of strange to say the given diagrams. Obviously they're given. Obviously they're there. So I just simply start with these two diagrams, right? Because it's basically two diagrams. Okay. And instead of the word show, I'm going to use the word depict. I really like the word depict for diagrams because they are actually pictures. And depict, the root here, pict, meaning to show a picture. So it looks really good. So these two diagrams depict, okay? And here we're talking about a building and an area, so you can use some words like alterations or renovations instead of changes. Okay, that's going to work really well here also. So these two diagrams depict the alterations that took place. So to take place means to happen. It's a phrasal verb. So again, I think that's a good paraphrase here. To, and then instead of shopping center, I can give a little bit more detail here because I have the title of this shopping center. So it's Happy Valley Shopping Center. Now, of course, notice how it's capital H, capital V, because it's the name of the shopping center. So you want to make sure that you stick to that. Okay. So that took place with the Happy Valley Shopping Center over the course of 3 decades, right? So here it says between 2 years, okay? Now again, in the diagram, we have more specifics. We have 1982 and 2012. So over the course of 3 decades, from 1982. We don't know when these changes happened. Maybe they changed everything all at once. Maybe it was a progressive change. But anyway, that's what happened over the course of the 3 decades from 1982 to 2012. Okay. All right, so now I've taken the information from these diagrams and given just a lot more detail to that paraphrase. So it is a paraphrase, but it's a paraphrase with a lot more detail. Okay. All right. So here's the original. The following diagrams show the changes that happened to a shopping center between 2 years. Okay. Here's my paraphrase. These 2 diagrams depict the alterations that took place with the Happy Valley Shopping Center over the course of 3 decades from 1982 to 2012. Okay, that reads nicely and definitely a good paraphrase. Let's see what some of our members came up with. There are different ways to do this. All right, so Angelo, right, the map diagram exhibits the alterations of the shopping center in 1982 and 2012. Okay, Angelo, yeah, you didn't see the years. Angelo, you can definitely add a few more details based on the information that you have available, so pay attention to that. Nick Hill writes, these 2 pictorial representations illustrate the improvements that occurred with Happy Valley Shopping Mall in the year 1982 and 2012, from the year 1982 to 2012, Nick Hill. So from to instead of in the, because that would be different information. Okay. Also, shopping mall would need a capital S and a capital M because it's part of the name, Nick Hill. So careful with that. Those are considered mistakes. Okay. Jainil writes, the two blueprints depict the renovations that went on with Happy Valley Shopping Center over a period of 3 decades from 1982 to 2012. Be really careful, Jainil, with your information accuracy, especially in the academic IELTS. It really does matter. 1982 to 2012 is 30 years, so 3 decades, not 2 decades. Okay. June writes, these 2 diagrams illustrate how Happy Valley Shopping Center altered from the year 1982 to 2012. Okay, again, not bad, June. June, I highly recommend staying away from question markers in your writing, especially statements. So notice, June, how you're writing, these 2 diagrams illustrate how the Happy Valley Shopping Center. Instead of using how, use affirmative statements. So instead of the question marker. So for example, June, these 2 diagrams illustrate the changes, the alterations, the upgrades, the renovations, or the ways in which Happy Valley Shopping Center altered from the year 1982. Okay, so avoid using how and when in statements. Okay, questions. When can be used for real conditions, so that's a bit different, but avoid using question markers like how. Okay. Deepika says, the figures demonstrate the evolution of Happy Valley Shopping Center over 3 decades from 1982 to 2012. Deepika, not bad, 2012, not 2002, and you do not need the IE. That's awkward in this case, okay? All right, so Spandana writes, the given map depicts the renovations made to Happy Valley Shopping Center over a period of 30 years from 1982 to 2012. Don't use IE, okay, students? It's a little bit off in this context, so careful with the use of IE, okay? All right. Rashika writes, the 2 maps illustrates the alterations that occurred to the Happy Valley Shopping Center for 3 decades. over the course of 3 decades from 1982 to 2013. Okay, not bad, Rashika. Careful with your article. It's not a Happy Valley Shopping Center, but it's the Happy Valley Shopping Center. It's the specific one that we're discussing here. Okay. All right, Sadesh, welcome to our group of members. Happy to have you on board. And now we want the overview. Okay. The overview is basically the main feature. All right. It's what you notice most of all. All right. So the overview, again, is just 1 or 2 sentences. In college, university, this is actually a part of your introduction. But on the IELTS, you can write it as a separate paragraph to make it clear for the examiners. So what do we notice mostly when we look at these 2 diagrams? Now, when you're thinking about the overview, think about it visually. Okay, so what do you visually notice right away? So here we have the original 1982 shopping mall. Okay, and then here we have the 2012 version of the shopping mall. So what's kind of the most noticeable main feature that we can report in this case? Okay. All right. So what do you notice right away? I want to give you a bit of head start on this. I don't want to spoil the fun. Well, for me, visually, this right here definitely pops out. And this definitely right here pops out. So kind of what's happening to the west wing of the shopping mall, or the western area here of the shopping mall. Janelle says radical changes. Janelle, yeah, that's okay, but it doesn't make too much sense. Okay, Sadesh says the northwestern lake has been replaced. Yeah, that's true. Also, the parking lot here, right, is very noticeable. Notice how there's no parking lot there. So it's the entire western area of the shopping mall. Also, you can notice changes within the shopping mall as well. Okay, so I'll write my overview, you write your overview, and then we'll compare and we'll see if we're coming up with some similar ideas. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stick with this. Getting a little bit fancy. Again, pushing for that band 9 mark. So when you're going for that band 9, you do have to have, of course, great lexical resource. You have to have good coherence in your writing as well. And then, of course, grammar range and accuracy. So here we go. Immediately, when comparing the 2 blueprints, it is evident that there is significant expansion to the mall by 2012. Let me fix the grammar here because I am referring to the past. So there was significant expansion to the mall by 2012, especially to the west. In the original building, some facilities and venues remained the same while others changed. Okay, so here what I'm reporting is simply this change in the western part of the building, or the west wing, west side of the building, whereby the lake and this road to the entrance are replaced by the furniture retail store and the massive parking lot. And then, of course, I also noticed that internally here, we have some changes to these stores here, while the entertainment area, the elevators, toilets, they remain the same. So here the toilets are the same, the elevators are the same, entertainment area entrances are the same. But here the sports store, electronics store, and then the themed restaurants, those have changed. Okay, so those are all of the changes. That's what I'm going to have to report on. Okay, all right, let's see what some of our members have come up with. So Sadesh Som writes, at first glance, it becomes evident that there are noteworthy changes to the shopping mall, especially in regards to the western lot as compared to the past. Okay, good. Yeah, the lot that the mall is on, absolutely. Okay, very good. All right. Nick Hill writes, at first glance, after comparing these two diagrams, we already have the comparing these two diagrams in the introduction, Nick Hill, so try not to repeat if possible. It is clear that there was expansion in the western part of the mall by 2012. Furthermore, there were some changes in stores inside the mall. Okay, good, Nick Hill. Angelo writes, overall, it can be observed that some facilities shifted to other spots. Some are abolished and altered to a brand new facility. Moreover, the area expansion in the mall show a significant... Okay, Angelo, a little bit wordy, a little bit awkward. Overall, it can be, not could be. It can be. It's affirmative, right? We can see it. Also, Angelo, your order is different. You're talking about inside the mall first and then the outside. I did it a little bit differently because this is also kind of our thesis statement. So when you think about the main feature and the overview, also think about it as your thesis statement. Okay, I'll tell you what I mean by that more specifically here. Okay, so this basically tells my reader that I'm going to give a bit more information about these points, and the structure or the order will be the same. So in my analyses, I'm going to discuss in more detail the expansions to the west part of the lot, or the west side of the building, and then I'm going to discuss the changes inside the shopping mall. And I'm going to keep that same order. Okay, I think that the expansion to the mall is more significant than changing the stores inside the mall. So I want to write about that first in my analyses. Okay, so that's going to be the next part of my essay. All right. Rashika writes, at first glance, it is clear that the lake was vanished and added furniture resale store and added some modifications. So Rashika, that's going to be my analyses. Okay. So here in my overview, I keep it a little bit more general. So there's expansion or addition to the mall by 2012, especially to the west. Okay. So here it's a bit more general. In the analyses, I go into a bit more detail. Okay. So I can write something like, to explain further, the lake and road to the west of the original building had been replaced by the addition of a large furniture retail store and a parking lot, respectively. Okay, so this is what I mean, Rashika, is here in the beginning of my analyses, this is where I go into more detail. So to explain further, the lake and the road to the west of the original building had been replaced by the addition of a large furniture retail store and a parking lot respectively. And here I'm using the respectively because this tells my reader that the furniture retail store replaced the lake and the parking lot replaced the road. Okay, so this little interesting word here allows my reader to identify that lake is replaced by furniture store and road is replaced by parking lot. Is that clear for everyone? Okay. Deepika, we are definitely talking in the past tense because I'm not referring to the diagram itself, but I'm referring to the years and the change. So Deepika, in these diagrams, we're looking at 1982 and we're looking at 2012. And both of these years, of course, now are in the past because we're in 2021. So if I'm referring to the actual time and the buildings themselves, the changes themselves that happened, then I'm using the past tense. If I'm referring to the diagram, then I'm using present tense because that's generally true. So the diagram shows, but the mall changed. Okay, I hope that makes sense, all right, how the tenses work. So when I'm referring to the years of change, it's in the past. When I'm referring to the illustration of the diagram, it's in the present. Okay? All right. So that is my first part of the analysis. So keep writing at this point, members. When you're in the IELTS exam and you've written your overview, it's really a good idea, it's a wise idea to take a moment and indicate what your points of analysis are going to be, or your points of analyses are going to be. So I've already kind of jumped the gun and went ahead with 1A and 1B. Okay, so 1A, 1B being the lake and the road. Changing to the furniture retail store and the parking lot. Okay. Now, my next points of comparison. So here we have the sports store and the electronics store here. And we have the furniture store here. Okay. So the furniture store became that big addition to the shopping mall. And then the sports store and the electronics store also changed locations. We can see it here. And these replace the, we can just do it like that. These replace the coffee shop and the food store. Okay. And then where the sports store, electronics store, and furniture store used to be, that becomes the themed restaurants and the food store. Okay, so those become the themed restaurants and the food store here. All right, now moving along, the entertainment area, the toilets, and the elevators remain in their original locations. So for me, analyzing the diagrams, this makes the most sense to start with the biggest changes. So always start with the ones that are visually the largest changes, okay? And then go to the ones that are the second largest. I can circle that other area there. And then the third largest, and then ones that are similarities, I would do fourth, okay? So hopefully that makes sense for everyone. All right, so this is what we're going to do. And here you want to focus on accuracy, writing fluency as well. I'm going to write up the analyses while you do it. Keep going with these points. Okay, I think these are all clear for everybody. They should be. And I will look at the chat, give you feedback while I'm doing some of this writing as well. Okay, and let's start with Sadesh. So Sadesh writes, at closer inspection, it becomes clear that the lake and the driveway situated to the west of the mall was replaced in order to make room for a furniture retail store and parking facility, respectively. Sadesh, very good, and good use of the word respectively there. Okay, I wouldn't say a driveway is okay, Sadesh. Driveways are usually smaller. They're for houses. For shopping malls, that would be considered more of a road than a driveway. Okay. June writes, at looking at more details, the lake, along with the path towards the original building, was replaced by a furniture store and a large parking lot. Good, June. That works. Okay. All right. And yeah, we're replaced. Yeah. Nick Hill, looking further at the details, the lake and driveway was replaced with a furniture retail store and a large parking lot, respectively. Good, Nick Hill. Again, driveway, I wouldn't use it, but yeah. Spandana says, on further analysis, it can be seen that the lake and pathway to the store, not a hotel, careful Spandana, was replaced by the furniture retail store to the north and parking lot to the south, respectively. Yeah, that works, Spandana. Just be careful with parking lot instead of parking bay. All right, good. Nicely done. So I'm going to discuss the sports store and the electronics store. All right. In addition, the sports and electronics stores moved from the east wing of the mall to the north and occupied larger spaces. The coffee shop, or as a result, the coffee shop disappeared and the what did they call it? They called it the food store. Okay, so the food store moved down to where these other stores were. So disappeared, and the food store moved to the southeast of the building, along with the establishment of 3 themed restaurants. Okay. So far, so good. So now I have 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 3C knocked off the list. Now I have 4A, 4C, and 4B remaining. Okay. So as well, the entertainment area, entrance, and elevators remained in their original design. or designation, let's say. It's even a better word, all right? Okay, so there we go. That's my analyses. Now, of course, you might take a little bit longer to think about the vocabulary, the sentences, the structure, and that's totally fine. Okay, again, you do have 20 minutes. It's a good idea to review paragraphs as you complete them. So as I complete the analyses, I want to read it again just to make sure that it makes sense. So to explain further, the lake and the road to the west of the original building had been replaced by the addition of a large furniture retail store and a parking lot, respectively. In addition, so here I have addition. I don't like that kind of word redundancy in my writing, especially if I'm going for a band 9. So I want to replace that. So instead of addition here for the first one, I'm going to write expansion. Okay. Because really it's the expansion of the large furniture retail store. So to explain further, the lake and the road to the west of the original building had been replaced by the expansion of a large furniture retail store and a parking lot, respectively. In addition, the sports and electronics stores moved from the east wing of the mall to the north and occupied larger spaces. As a result, the coffee shop disappeared and the food store moved to the southeast of the building, along with the establishment of 3 themed restaurants. Okay. As well, the entertainment area, entrance, and elevators remained in their original designation. Now, I might want to take another quick peek at the diagram to make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, so looking at this, it looks good. Entertainment area. There is a lobby area there and toilets there as well. So let's take a look at that. Okay, the lobby area and the entrance seems a little bit different. The toilets remain the same. So I don't know what to write about the entrance and the lobby area. I think that's a little bit confusing because they're somewhat synonymous. So I might decide to not really focus on that. And instead of the entrance, I can write toilets here. And then I'm happy with it. Okay, so as well, the entertainment area, toilets, and elevators remained in their original designation. I'm just going to ignore that lobby area and entrance area. That seems a little bit confusing and awkward to me. It's not that important. Okay. All right. Lizzie, welcome to the class. Okay, so that looks good so far. Now, if I'm really shooting for the stars, going for that band 9, then at this point, I might consider writing a little bit of a summary here. Okay, so something that I can see in the diagram. This is not a conclusion. I'm not making any assumptions. Perhaps a slight inference. More or less just kind of reporting, interpreting the information that I see here. Okay. All right, so while we think about the summary for a moment, I'll look at what some of our members have been writing. Okay, let's check this out. All right, so Spandan, I believe I've read yours, but let's read it one more time. On further analysis, it can be seen that the lake and the pathway to the mall has been replaced by the furniture retail store to the north and the parking lot to the south, respectively. Yeah, Spandan and south, north, east, west, they're just common nouns, so you don't need to capitalize them. A little bit more feedback for you. Okay. Furniture retail store doesn't have to be capitalized either. Right? Deepika writes, additionally, along the north of the building, the stores have been moved. The electronics and sports stores occupy larger spaces in this section of the mall. Okay, Deepika, you have some awkward organization of words, so careful with that. If I read your original, additionally, along the north have been moved, the electronics and sports stores, it's confusing. Okay, you can't use commas that way. You have to keep to natural standard English, okay? All right. Sadesh writes, furthermore, the sports shop and the hardware store were completely relocated to the north while being replaced by 3 distinctly themed restaurants. Yeah. You don't have to write completely relocated, Sadesh. Just relocated is fine. Completely is awkward in that sentence, okay? Nick Hill writes, moreover, both sports and electronic stores changed their location from the east to the north of the main building. The coffee store vanished and 3 themed restaurants were constructed to the east of the building, or in the east wing of the building. Okay? All right, yeah, these are some tricky parts, so pay really careful attention to your wording and your grammar. June writes, also the sports and electronics retail stores moved from the east of the building to the north part and became larger, not and became enlarged, but became larger. At the same time, the food store moved to the southeast of the mall. Okay, June, good. And instead of the ... just write a period or keep writing in another chat. Okay, in summary, it is clear that some of the original stores demanded more space, more retail space, and there was an increased demand for more food services. This led to the need for a larger parking area. Okay, so this would be my summary. When I look at these 2 diagrams, I can summarize that some of these stores, like the furniture store here, the electronics store and the sports store, they outgrew themselves. Okay, so they needed more space. That's why in 2012, we have the sports stores and electronic stores here. They are larger, okay? And the furniture retail store is much larger. So obviously these stores outgrew themselves over the course of the 3 decades. They required more space. And clearly there seems to be more demand for food, more food, because there are these 3 themed restaurants. And of course, once you have this expansion, then you need more space for parking. So that's what we can summarize by looking at these 2 diagrams, okay? So again, some teachers will tell you that, oh, summary is not important for task 1 in the academic. I would say, okay, well, it depends on what your goals are. If you're looking for a band 8 or a band 9, then a summary is, I think, important. If you're looking for a band 7, you might not have to go there, especially if you don't have time. If you don't have time for a summary, yeah, don't stress, don't worry about it, okay? But if you do have time and you're going for that band 8, you're going for that band 9, then it's a good idea to include that, because that's the goal of diagrams, is to actually teach us some kind of information, okay? So here we go. I'm going to now just read this whole essay. Make sure that it's clear for you, it makes sense. From the top, immediately, when comparing the 2 blueprints, it is evident that, let's go back to the introduction. From the top, here we go, from the introduction. So these 2 diagrams depict the alterations that took place with the Happy Valley Shopping Center over the course of 3 decades, from 1982 to 2012. Immediately, when comparing the 2 blueprints, it is evident that there was significant expansion to the mall, by 2012, especially to the west. In the original building, some facilities and venues remained the same while others changed. To explain further, the lake and road to the west of the original building had been replaced by the expansion of a large furniture retail store and a parking lot, respectively. In addition, the sports and electronics stores moved from the east wing of the mall to the north and occupied larger spaces. As a result, the coffee shop disappeared and the food store moved to the southeast of the building, along with the establishment of 3 themed restaurants. As well, the entertainment area, toilets, and elevators remained in their original designation. In summary, it is clear that some of the original stores demanded more retail space, and there was an increased demand for more food services. This led to the need for a larger parking area. Demand, again, a bit of redundancy there, so I want to paraphrase. Instead of demanded, I can say required. More retail space, okay? All right, so that would be considered a Band 9 level response to this Task 1 diagram. Jaineel writes, in summary, it can be seen that in these layouts that there was significant renovation in the shopping mall, whereby several facilities were replaced, renovated, and removed during the given time period. Jaineel, yeah, that's okay. It's not as in-depth as mine, but it's an okay summary. It'll work. All right, everyone. So that is this Task 1, and that is how you do it. Task 2, body paragraphs and conclusion. That lesson is coming up next, following from our Task 2 that we started yesterday. Deepika, yeah, the lawn was reduced in size, but nobody cared about that. People cared about parking and food a little bit more. Typical human behavior. All right, everyone. So keep practicing. Review this lesson as much as you need. It's going to be up on the channel. And again, remember that you can find lots more help on our websites at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. So when you visit our websites, you can practice your writing, your speaking, you have interactive courses, tests. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. You can just click that big red button to join. Doesn't cost very much, and you can use it until you pass your IELTS exam and you get the scores that you need. For the academic IELTS, it's the blue background here. Click that big red button there. You're very welcome, Nick Hill. June, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, maps are somewhat popular for sure. Sidesh, nice participation in the class. Hope to see you in future classes as well. Okay, everyone, that's it for now, but I will be back in 30 minutes again with Task 2. So hang around, take a break, go for a walk, stretch, maybe do a bit of meditation, yoga or something. Have a cup of tea or take a cup of tea, and I'll see you back here in 30 minutes. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria for now. See you shortly. Bye.